even though this float technically contains a perfectly valid integer, when this expression happens, this integer is converted into a float and stored in this float variable. When this line happens, we're trying to take this float variable and take its value out, which is 10 in this case, and put it into this myOtherInt variable. We are not allowed to do this. The reason we are not allowed to do this is because there is no implicit conversion between a float and or from a float to an int. And the reason that there isn't follows the basic guidelines that I was talking about before, with C# trying to be a very safe language. When we go from an int to a float, it's not very possible for it's. I'm just going to make a blanket statement, though it's technically wrong, but I don't want to get into the caveats. When we go from an int to a float, we don't lose any information. A float can contain integer values and decimal values and all that fun stuff. We don't lose any information when we go from myInt variable to myFloat. Nothing will get lost. No information will get truncated. But when we go the other way around, because a float can store data that an integer cannot store, we get an error. This error is not arbitrary. This error is a decision that the C# designers made specifically about conversions from floats to integers. Their reasoning is a float can potentially contain data, such as in this case, that cannot be converted into an integer. We cannot convert 10.4 blah 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 into an integer because we will lose all of this information. And C# being a safe language, they wanted to prevent people from accidentally losing information.